everyone. Thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's Morning Briefing.
A young IDF soldier was lightly wounded this morning, as at roughly 9:30 a.m., a female Palestinian assailant stabbed him in the upper body. The wounded soldier was guarding the gate of the Mevodotan settlement in the northern West Bank when the attack occurred. The terrorists reportedly ignored orders to halt, managing to stab the soldier in question. Other soldiers at the scene responded by shooting and wounding the Palestinian attacker. The terrorist received first aid at the scene but was last reported as critically injured. Her current condition is not yet clear, and the soldier was taken to Hillel Yafe Hospital in Hadera for treatment by the Magen David Adom paramedics. A Syrian national who crossed into Israel recently has just been released back into the war-torn country by the Israeli security forces a day after he was interrogated to figure out his motive for crossing in the first place. The Shin Bet security services were those to interrogate the man, but have not reported on what motives they may have found. The Syrian crosser was unarmed when he breached the border fence near Israel's southern Golan Heights on Tuesday and was arrested shortly after entering the country. This is the second infiltration of the northern border in 2 months. The first was on April 27th when Ali Mari, a mentally ill man from Lebanon, was picked up over 3 kilometers into Israel. He crossed because he suffers delusions of being Jewish. When questioned about his motives for hopping the border, Mari's father said, quote, "My son's mind is not right. He says he was originally Jewish. Can you imagine a normal person doing such a thing?" End quote. United States President Donald Trump isn't quite living up to his campaign promises, and is apparently falling in line with the 3 presidents before him. White House sources are now saying that just like former presidents Barack Obama, George W. Bush, and Bill Clinton, Trump is set to sign a waiver to block a legally mandated move of the United States Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. During the 2016 presidential race, Trump, like his predecessors, was promising to uphold Congress's 1995 vote to move the United States Embassy to the Israeli capital as soon as possible. But now he's set to follow the status quo and use presidential waivers to overrule the 1995 Jerusalem Embassy Act. Arguments within the White House between the people pushing for the move, the military, and oil men who oppose the move could reportedly be heard. In favor are United Nations Ambassador Nikki Haley and U.S. Ambassador to Israel David Friedman. But Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, Defense Secretary James Mattis, and National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster are pushing back against it, and it seems like Trump is listening. McMaster caused controversy just last month when he even refused to admit that the Western Wall is under Israeli sovereignty. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas is trying to cut power to the Gaza Strip, and Israel is intervening to keep the lights on. You heard that right. In the latest move in the ongoing power struggle between the Palestinian Authority's Fatah party and Gaza's leading Hamas movement, Abbas is threatening to refuse to pay Israel for Gaza's electric bill. As it stands now, residents of the coastal enclave have an inconsistent 4 hours of power at a time per day, and in the hot Middle East climate, that's not even enough to keep the food in your fridge safe to eat. Since Israel provides the power to Gaza, however, they have an essential veto over Abbas's threatened power cuts, and Energy Minister Yuval Steinitz is saying he'll block these cuts until further review. Steinitz backs up his move, saying Israel should not get drawn into an internal Palestinian problem. Further, in May, after the Palestinian Authority informed the IDF that it would only cover $7 million of its $11 million electric bill, Steinitz replied that if the bill is short, he might just cut power to Abbas's Ramallah office first instead. Israeli beaches and parks were packed this week as citizens observed the holiday of Shavuot, or the Feast of Weeks. Originating as a wheat harvest festival, Shavuot also commemorates the supposed dates of Moses receiving the Torah on Mount Sinai. The Shavuot holiday is held 50 days after Passover, and to celebrate, thousands in large groups crowded public spaces on the national day off to enjoy fun in the sun and play in the sand and water. Over 20,000 hit the shores of the Sea of Galilee alone, with several Kinneret beaches closing due to overcrowding. Beachgoers were urged to stay near the lifeguard posts, and the lifeguard services were extended until 6 p.m. Splashing water on one another to many symbolizes the trust Jews put in God to provide them water until the rains return in winter.
That's all for now. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.